What if I told you the inventor of the telephone actually hated his most famous invention, that he refused to have one in his study and considered it an intrusion? The man who connected the world wanted to disconnect from his own creation. Stay with me, because Alexander Graham Bell's story is nothing like what you learned in school. Born in 1847 in Edinburgh, Scotland, Bell didn't just stumble into invention. His mother was deaf. His father taught elocution. Young Alexander was literally surrounded by the science of sound and the frustration of silence. But here's the twist: this personal connection would drive him to do something extraordinary. Can you guess what his first major invention was? It wasn't the telephone. At just 12 years old, Bell created his first invention, a husking device for wheat at his friend's family mill. Simple, right? But it worked for years. Then came something darker and more fascinating. Bell and his brother conducted experiments on their family dog, manipulating its vocal cords to make it speak. Creepy maybe, but it taught him everything about sound production. By age 16, he was teaching music and elocution. But wait, his story takes a tragic turn that changed everything. Both his brothers died of tuberculosis. His family fled to Canada for Bell's health in 1870. Imagine losing everything and starting over. But this tragedy planted the seed for his greatest work. Why? Because in Boston, he began teaching deaf students. And one of those students would become his wife, but also the key to his most controversial achievement. Here's what they don't tell you: Bell was not trying to invent the telephone. He was working on the harmonic telegraph, a device to send multiple messages over one wire. Money was his motivation. Telegraph companies would pay millions for this. But on June 2, 1875, his assistant Thomas Watson plucked a reed, and Bell heard it through the wire in another room. That mistake changed history. March 10, 1876. The first intelligible telephone call: "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." But here's the shocking part: Elisha Gray filed a patent for a similar device the same day. The legal battle lasted years. Did Bell steal the idea? The controversy still rages today. Want to know something even crazier? Bell's telephone patent became the single most valuable patent in history. Yet he never stopped inventing. The telephone was just the beginning. The metal detector 1881. When President Garfield was shot, Bell frantically invented an electromagnetic device to locate the bullet. It worked in tests but failed on the president. Why? The metal bed springs interfered. Garfield died, but Bell's invention evolved into the modern metal detector. The photophone 1881. Bell called this his greatest invention, not the telephone. It transmitted sound on a beam of light, the predecessor to fiber optics. In 1881. Think about that. He invented the technology for modern internet. 140 years early, the graphophone, an improved phonograph that recorded on wax instead of tinfoil. This made recorded sound practical and affordable. But his obsessions went further. Much further. Hydrofoils. Bell's HD4 hydrofoil set a world water speed record of 70.86 miles per hour in 1919, a record that stood for decades. He essentially invented the concept of high-speed water travel. Tetrahedral kites, massive geometric kites that could lift humans. Bell believed these structures were key to stable flight. His Signet I kite carried a man 168 feet in the air in 1907. Aeronautics. He founded the Aerial Experiment Association. His team created the Silver Dart, the first airplane flown in Canada in 1909. He worked on air conditioning, desalination of seawater, and even eugenics, unfortunately a dark stain on his legacy. But here's the real question: why did this genius mind never stop? What drove him? Bell worked from midnight to 4 a.m. most of his life. He was obsessed with helping the deaf, but later controversially opposed sign language, wanting them to lip read and speak instead. His wife Mabel defended deaf culture against his own views. He received dozens of honorary degrees, the French Legion of Honor, and became a regent of the Smithsonian Institution. When he died in 1922, every telephone in North America was silenced for 1 minute in tribute. Millions of phones went quiet simultaneously. Can you imagine that today, the entire continent pausing to honor one man? So here's my challenge to you: Bell's failures became other people's successes. His photophone failure is now fiber optic communication. His harmonic telegraph failure became the telephone. What are you working on that you've given up on? What failure might actually be ahead of its time? Like this video if Bell's story inspired you. Subscribe, because next week, I'm covering Nikola Tesla's lost inventions that could have changed everything. And comment below, which Bell invention shocked you most?